So here's first the general item. Your caliber speed is about 111, which is similar to an elite man's average, including professional players and college players. So you're about the same to the average in terms of mile per hour. For your height, when we normalize the caliber speed to your height, still is fairly close to what elite man's average. And then overall swing time is less than 1,000 milliseconds. That means less than 1 second. So this is the beginning of the backswing, top of backswing here, and then this is the impact here. And also, what I see here is that, let's go to the frontal view here. 2, here is when the club is aligned horizontally here. And the 3 is when the lead arm is parallel to the ground. 4 is when the club aligns vertically here. So 3 and 4 are separated quite a bit here. That means you tend to extend your arm quite a bit in the backswing. And the 5 is when the pelvis rotation is completed. So this is appearing early. This is end of pelvis rotation. This is top of backswing, and then this phase is called the transition phase. But the transition phase is fairly long. It's because the pelvis rotation is completed early. So this has to be a bit closer to this side here. So that means you are not turning your pelvis enough. That's what it is. And then, but your shoulder turns more than 90 degrees here, and then this is top of backswing here. You tend to turn the shoulder a lot, but you're not turning the pelvis that much. So we'll eventually see that in the pelvis motion. So to me, 2 and 3 are a bit too close, and then 3 and 4 are a bit too wide. That means instead of using a natural throwing motion here, but you're intentionally doing something, intentionally try to lift the arms high here. And more importantly, here, 7 and 8 here. 7 is on the way down. 7 is on the way down when the lead arm is paired to the ground. 8 is when the club becomes vertical here. 7 and 8 are quite close to each other. That means you are letting it go early, letting the club go early. So instead of maintaining the leg. So around here, when the lead arm is paired to ground, still the club should be aligned this way here. But you are letting the club go early, then it costs your caliber speed. When you let it go early, then at impact, you will see that your body is moving slightly up, and then this is coming behind your body here. So 7 and 8 is a bit too close. Keep the club closer to the body, do not let it go early. When you let it go early, then generally that means that you are going into uncocking early. And then go to the top view here. In the top view, this large rectangle shows the swing plane. The swing plane is about 3 degrees outward, so into out. This smaller rectangle is your hand motion plane. Your hand motion plane is slide over 5 degrees outward. But one thing is that for your hand motion plane direction, this is the mean and this is standard deviation. Standard deviation of 1.3 degrees, that's a bit too high. That means from swing to swing, your hand path changes. So you have to keep it more consistent. The swing plane, direction of the swing plane shows standard deviation of 0.9 degrees. And then here you will see that so hand motion, these are 5 degrees, 6 degrees here, and then this is certainly 3 degrees, and then 5 degrees again. So you tend to, this is average, so 5 or 6 degrees, and then you have 3 degrees here. So if this also goes to 5.8 or 6 degrees, then the mean will be around 6 degrees.
Yeah.
But the standard deviation a bit large here. Okay, then this is the swing plane. This is when everything is aligned along the swing plane here. So this straight line is the swing plane, which is calculated from the cleavage motion from horizontal to horizontal here. So these dots, these show where the cleavage path was calculated here. So about horizontal to horizontal in this region, using this path, the swing plane is calculated. And your swing plane is currently 51.7 degrees steep here. This is a bit too steep.
Okay.
For your height, should be 47 degrees, 48 degrees.
Okay.
That means this line has to pass through about this point here, midsection of the trunk here.
Okay.
It has to go this way. But when it's steep, that means you tend to use your arms on the way down.
Pull it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the club moves away. When you develop club motion early, it's hard to change the club motion later.
Gotcha.
So shallow, but turn the body in shallow and then ready, and then deliver the cleavage to the bone.
Okay.
But rather, if you start the fast motion from the beginning here, it's hard to shallow the bone, shallow the club here. So that's why the swing plane is steep. This is probably the area you need to work on the most.
Okay.
So when the swing plane is a bit away from the typical or comfortable position, then from swing to swing, you can have a higher inconsistency here. Okay. So if the swing plane goes around here, then you'll have a lot more comfortable swing.
Yeah.
So that's what I see here.
Okay.
And then the hand motion plane is about 55.8 degrees. So between the swing plane and hand motion plane, the slope difference is about 4 degrees. But this should be around 9 or 10 degrees.
Okay.
So the hand motion is steeper. Hand motion plane is steeper. Your club head plane is flatter.
Okay.
But that difference is about 9 degrees, 10 degrees.
Gotcha. Okay.
But in your case, these are close to each other. That means you're hitting more in this position here. Then you can introduce this motion easily.
Okay.
So the face control becomes hard.
Yeah.
But when you have a bit more difference between the club motion plane and the hand motion plane, then you are still maintaining this angle here. So in this position, it's really difficult to do this
Okay.
at impact.
Yeah.
So the club face is determined by this motion here.
Okay.
But if you extend it like this, then this
steep.
becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So avoid, such a steep plane here. So you need to bring it down to this here.
Okay.
Then the direction shows about 3 degree difference. Now this is the center of mass motion here. It is a whole body center of mass. This is the pelvis center of mass. But if you look at the whole body center of mass, so initially it is here, and then this is when the club head starts moving.
Okay.
So this is really beginning of the backswing here. And then you're going diagonally down, and then almost no up motion here, and then a lot of down motion here.
Okay.
But in the backswing, you need to move this higher here.
Oh, okay.
So you're lacking this upward motion of the body center of mass. So what happens is during the backswing here, so from here, the arms and club are moving upward. So if your body just stays there, then because this portion is moving upward, so the center of mass should move upward.
And mine's moving down.
And yours is, so up to this point, it's going slightly downward, then that means you're already lowering your body to a certain extent.
Got it. Okay.
And then from this point on, while the arms and club are mainly moving upward, but you don't have that much upward motion, that means you're lowering the rest of the body.
Okay.
You see? You're essentially sitting here and lowering the lead side here. So instead of continue rotating, but what happens is you stop, your pelvis stops here, and you're lowering the left side.
Gotcha.
And then this will limit the pelvis rotation.
Okay.
And then the low point is happening a bit early. Usually the low point should occur about here, around 8 here, when the club aligns vertically. But your low point occurs a bit earlier. And then, as I said, again, between 7 and 8, this is too close. So around here, you should have the club more going this way, around 7. And then, so diagonally going down and then diagonally up again, but 10 is impact. At impact, still, at impact 10 here, now this is close to the initial position here in terms of height.
Okay.
But it has to go higher here.
Higher. Okay.
So go just away, and then the center mass goes up here, diagonally down, and then diagonally up here, so that you end up somewhere here.
Okay.
But you are going down quite a bit,
Yeah.
and you are not quite recovering from that. You're just coming back to the initial position, but
The center of my
whole body center mass, yes. And the pelvic center mass stays down here. At impact, it's here.
Okay.
But it has to go higher.
Okay.
So the pelvic center mass actually should stay higher than the initial position at impact.
Okay.
But you're about the same height here. That means you're not pushing the ground good and then move the
Standing.
center mass up.
Yeah.
So this is the pelvis motion here. So this is elite man's average of pelvis rotation in the backswing. So you're not reaching there. That means you're not turning the pelvis enough.
Okay.
So what happens is you generally have initial shift motion here, and then fix it, and then you're just dropping this side here, going this way here.
Yeah.
Instead, turning around the right hip here,
Yeah.
going this way. So you have to support your body well using the right leg,
Okay.
but turn around the right hip here,
Okay.
and then naturally going down here.
Okay.
But what happens is you quickly stop this
Get
and then
lost there. Yep.
yeah, lower this left side here.
Okay.
But then at impact, you're turning left quite a bit. Yeah. So this is the pelvis rotation at impact, the red line here at impact. And then these are not balanced. Right side, you have about 30-degree rotation. Left side at impact, you have over 60-degree rotation.
Okay. Wow.
These should be reasonably balanced.
Okay.
So the most right rotated position during the backswing versus the pelvis position at impact, these should be reasonably balanced.
Okay.
So you're not turning the right pelvis that much.
Got it.
But then in the downswing, so you can see that the left hip is moving up quite a bit here. With that, pelvis is turning. And also, oh, this is actually really bad posture here.
Okay.
In the follow through, see how high your hands go here. This is not good. That means you're putting a lot of effort in the follow through.
Okay.
Or in your image, you try to put a lot of effort near the impact or through the impact.
Yeah.
So then that continues through the follow through.
Okay.
You end up with a really high hand position here.
Okay.
So this is typically coming from the swing where you try to put a lot of effort near the impact.
Kind of just using your power late.
Yeah. So the taxi passes and then you try to wave to start the text.
Okay, yeah.
Too late, right?
Okay.
Because the impact occurs here.
Yeah.
That means on the way down, you have to accelerate well and then generate high enough speed.
Okay.
But you're putting a lot of effort later.
Okay.
That's why the pelvis turns quite a bit. Your hands are going really high. This also, in order to slow down the motion, this excessive motion, then again, you have to engage your muscles.
Okay.
Then that puts also a burden on the body.
Okay.
And when you have excessive range of motion at this stage here, that can be a risk for injury.
Okay.
Okay? So this is too much here. And then, so basically you have bias toward the follow through. Yeah. And this is when you have the most pelvis rotation during the backswing. But instead of turning reasonably, you're shifting too much here. And then keep going slowly in the backing toward the end here. And normally what should happen is that the pelvis rotation should continue all the way to the peak value here. Mm-hmm. But already you are slowing down about here. So up until this point, the pelvis rotation is continuous here. Mm-hmm. Once you pass it around here, then the slope changes quite a bit. Okay. That means you have slow motion. That means you have an early quick motion, but after that you slow down the pelvis quite a bit. Rather than having similar acceleration, deceleration, mm-hmm. you have early quick acceleration and then slow deceleration. So it's important to maintain good rhythm in the backswing. Okay. So for that, you have to have one piece backswing and going into downswing, mm-hmm. rather than quick motion and then slow motion up here. So the blue line is a lateral tilt. And then normally, if it goes more than 20 degrees, it will be perfect. Okay. However, there are two different ways of generating this. One is moving the trail hip up actively. Mm-hmm. You can generate this lateral tilt, or by dropping the lead side. Mm-hmm. So in your case, this maximum lateral tilt is coming from dropping the left side quite a bit. And also it shows a two-stage motion here. So lateral tilt up to this point, but it's kind of slows down here. The slope changes. Yeah. And the green line shows this motion here, pelvis for the backward tilt. Yeah. And then, so it stays similarly here, and then from here to here, it goes, this is forward tilt. So your pelvis tends to go this way here. Mm-hmm. That means your pelvis is moving backward. Okay. When the pelvis moves backward, then you can easily tilt forward here. Okay. When the hip moves backward, you can tilt forward. Yeah. So when you have this much, the green line here, this shows a lot of forward tilt. And with that, if you look at the red line here, up here, red line shows the pelvis center of mass forward backward motion here. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as you start the backswing, your pelvis is moving backward all the way to this point here. Wow. Instead of going forward, backward, and forward here, it's going, from the beginning, it's going backward. Yeah. As soon as your backswing starts, what happens is,
just flip it right
this
back.
happens here.
Yeah.
So you're moving pelvis backward here, mm-hmm. and then lowering the left side. Yeah. Instead of standing on the right side and then turning here. When you support the body with the right leg well, then what happens is pelvis center mass actually moves forward here as you turn. Okay. But because this is here, and then you tend to move the
okay, you're saying forward this way when it moves right. Got it.
So let's go to the swing plane view here, see what happens. Or this is the true down the line view here. So you see here, during the backswing, you tend to squat, and then the right hip is going backward here, and it's sitting here.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Instead, support this side well, and then you turn, then left side goes forward here, mm-hmm. and then the center of mass, or pelvic center mass, goes forward here. Then you can support the body well, and then promote a bit more turn. Mm-hmm. But when you have a good lateral tilt, then it will automatically limit the turn, so you cannot go too much.
Gotcha.
So it will limit the too much rotation here, in a good position. So still you have sufficient rotation here, turning this way. But this goes back, and this is going down this way here. Then it's hard to use the right leg.
I'm doing that, and really it should be.
You have to just support the body with right side well. So you have the good loading on the right side, and then push the ground with the ball of the foot here.
Okay.
So you are using the ball of foot and the push the ground and then generate turn here. So it's not just the sliding and turning upper body here, rather using the right leg actively and then create turn here. Yes, it's by supporting the right hip and then turn. So you have to awaken your right leg.
Okay.
Let's see, it's in the frontal view here. So here, the red line is the combined ground reaction force. The combined, the arrow in the middle here, this is combined ground reaction force.
Okay.
The red line stays at the body weight currently here. And then this is when you have the most push, but it's still staying close to the body weight line here.
Yeah.
You have a lot of force acting on the right side, almost 100% unloading on the left side.
Yeah.
But it's just redistributing your forces, but you don't have net push.
Okay.
You need to have net push so that this has to go high up here, above the body weight line here. But you're just maintaining this. So you don't have much active push.
On the right side.
Net push from the right side.
Okay.
You're just putting more weight on the right side here.
Okay.
And then when the hip is moving backward, it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
So when the hip is moving backward,
I'm just stuck. Yeah.
it's hard to push the ground well. So so that's why as soon as the swing starts, your pelvis center mass is actually keep moving backward here, all the way here. And then when the pelvis moves backward, in order to overall maintain the balance, then the upper body has to lean forward.
Yep.
With that, pelvis tilts forward.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So this is this green line shows a forward tilt here. This is a backward position here. And then this green line is away and toward motion here. So you are moving initially away. Here, and then another stage of away motion here by lowering the left side.
Okay.
So your initial action is about up to this point. You see that you have initial backward motion. This is the initial stage. Okay. So initially up to this point, about here, as the club approaches to the horizontal position here, you're mainly moving the right hip backward. After that, you are lowering the lead side here. Okay. With that, you keep shifting the pelvic center mass away here, from here, the green line, all the way here. But actually, at this point, you have to return to the initial position.
Okay.
So you have initial shift away, and then you should have a recentering motion, rather than keep going to the right here. So this motion is initially coming from the backward motion of the right hip, and then the second stage, by lowering your left side, your pelvis keep moving to the right.
Okay.
So you are reaching here. Then try to move the pelvis toward target here.
The pelvis should be moving towards the target before the backswing is finished. Okay.
So about here, just shift away, then you should have good recentering motion.
Okay.
So by the time you reach the end of pelvis rotation 5 here, you have to return to the initial position.
Okay.
But in your case, because sort of your pelvis is collapsing during the backswing.
Yeah.
It's moving laterally and backward, and then the left side is dropped here.
Yeah.
So you're going to this position. And then on the other hand, the upper body try to assume small reverse pivot posture. And then the blue line is up and down motion. But at impact, the pelvic center mass should be above the initial position here.
Okay.
This is relative to the initial position, and then you're basically returning to the initial position here. So you need to have more active rotation of the pelvis during the backswing around the right hip.
Yeah.
The right hip has to support your body well, so it should more show upward motion
Yeah.
rather than initial earlier backward motion here, supporting the body here. Then without intentionally dropping the left side, you'll still be able to keep lateral tilt. And then left hip is actually moving forward in that process.
On the downswing.
In the backswing.
Backswing.
So when you support the right side well here, then this happens. So this is going more forward here.
Yeah.
And then this is possible here. But if you initially go here and then drop here, now this is already behind here.
Yeah.
It's hard to have early action of the body.
Yeah.
Naturally, your effort is more in the follow through.
Yeah. The 60 degrees of left hip turn. That's where that comes from.
And then here, this is X factor. This is separation between your shoulders and hips here.
Okay.
Now, when the two lines, shoulder line and hip line, are parallel to each other, about here, the X factor is 0. After that, the shoulder shows more turn than the hips here, so the X factor increases. And then, so you will see that this rapid increase in the X factor, right? This is elite man's average. You go way above elite man's average here. Then the slope changes right here. It goes almost flat here. So between end of pelvis rotation and the top of action here, this is the transition phase. This is where you should have a continuous increase in the X factor.
Okay.
So here you don't need to generate this much X factor early here.
Got it.
But rather, if this is the main target point, then you just keep increasing it toward the top of action here, and then coming down like this.
Okay.
But pretty much from here to here, you see this is almost flat, or it's close to flat, right? So that means you're losing the effect of separation toward the end.
Got it.
And then
Would that be delaying the shoulder turn a bit?
this is too much shoulder turn while you don't have enough hip turn here.
Got it.
So separating the shoulders and hips is not important.
Okay.
What's important is the actual motion of the hips and shoulders.
Okay.
But you have excessive shoulder turn
Yeah.
while you don't turn the pelvis that much.
Okay.
That gives this much separation, but this is not well translated to your cleavage speed.
Okay.
Among the elite golfers, X factor is not correlated to cleavage speed
Okay.
significantly.
Yeah.
Okay. So rather, if you look at the pelvis rotation and shoulder rotation separately, both are correlated to cleavage speed.
Okay.
So what's important is your active rotation of the pelvis and the active rotation of shoulders, but not the separation between them.
Okay.
But you have excessive separation here. It's because you are not turning the pelvis that much.
Okay.
But at the same time, you are turning your shoulders quite a bit here. Yeah. So you have maximum separation here. That occurs before top of action here. And then while you are going into downswing, so from here is a downswing. As you start the downswing, what happens is you are letting the club go away from your body early.
Okay.
With all this rotation, okay, with all this shoulder rotation here, you're simply on the way down, you're letting the club go early. That means you're not really taking advantage of all these here.
Okay.
But you have a casting-like effect in the end. So it should be continuous increase as long as the peak stays around the elite man's average here. Around here is okay, but it should be continuous separation all the way to top of backswing, and then quickly going down here,
Okay.
quickly returning, rather than having this excess X factor here. But then here you lose the effect of the X factor.
Okay.
So this is what I see here, and the 7 and 8 are too close. Then you're letting the club go away from your body. So your mean is about 80-degree rotation, but elite man's average slide over 60 degrees.
Okay.
And this one is how much you increase the X factor during the transition phase. It's about 7 degrees. And then this is how much you increase the X factor during the downswing phase here. But no, because you're hitting the maximum value here, it keeps decreasing. So this is called the backswing stretch. This is a downswing stretch. Your backswing stretch is reasonably okay, but it has to be continuously increasing all the way to top of backswing, rather than losing that near the top of backswing.
Okay.
So, and then this is the kinematic sequence here. There are 3 sequences in golf swing: backswing sequence, transition sequence, and downswing sequence. Among these, the most important one is the transition sequence. What's happening here between backswing and downswing. But let's take a look at first at the backswing sequence here. The backswing sequence, this is the angular velocity pattern here. So rotational velocity of the body parts. Red is pelvis, green is thorax, blue is the shoulders, gray is the arms, and then this is the club. Okay. And then pelvis reaches peak angular velocity here, as you can see, in the backswing direction. This is really early. This has to happen around the midpoint of the backswing here.
Okay.
But this is early pelvis rotation. That means you have a quick rotation early, but then after that, it's slowing down here.
Okay.
It's losing the angular velocity gradually, and this is too slow from here to here.
Yeah.
Although your overall swing time is less than 1,000, so it's a bit faster than elite man's average. However, you have too much of quick motion early on, and then this is gradual, slow motion in the backswing, in the rest of the backswing here. Now your thorax and shoulders reach peak values about here. Again, these are also too early. Generally, in the backswing, we don't see good separation between these. They are pretty much happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's about around the midpoint of the backswing here. So when these peaks are delayed to this here, then the arm peak will delay, the club peak will delay here. Okay, so there will be separation between the body peaks here, and then the arm peaks here, arm peak here, and then the club peak here. But within the body, there's no separation. They happen pretty much at the same time.
Okay.
But this should be around the midpoint of the backswing. Then this will be delayed. This will be delayed.
Okay.
But it's too quick, too early here.
Okay.
That means you have a quick motion here, then slow motion after that.
Yeah.
And then this shows the transition phase here. We see clusters transition of the trunk. So red is pelvis, green and blue are thorax and shoulders. These are happening almost at the same time here.
Okay.
Then you have arms and club here. So within the body, there's no separation. So when you have a good active motion in the backswing, then the shoulder wants to go more, but then the pelvis starts changing the direction. Then thorax changes direction, and then shoulders. So you have a sequential transitions. But here you have clustered transitions.
Okay.
It's because toward the end of the backswing, the body is too slow here. From there, your trunk is turning at the same time.
Okay.
And then the arms and club here. So this is partial sequential transition here. So cluster transition here. And then in the downswing, we can establish the sequence by using the timings of the peak values, peak angular velocities. But in general, what you see here is the peak occurs here. The pelvis peak occurs about here. The thorax keeps accelerating through the impact here. Shoulders reach peak a bit later here, and then the arms about here. But for the thorax and pelvis here, the peak occurs about here. This is a bit late, delayed. This should actually happen at the 8 when the club is pretty much vertical here. Around here, when the club is aligned vertically, around here your angular velocity should reach peak values. Here, these are all the trunk segments and then even the arms, they reach peak angular velocity almost at the same time.
Okay.
With just a really short time difference about here. But these are delayed. These peaks are delayed, and then the thorax shows continuous acceleration. Pelvis is also slightly delayed. So that means you're not starting the downswing with the good muscular action early on, but rather you try to put a lot of effort toward the impact. Yeah. So these are delayed.
Okay.
That's why. So here, this is the arms here, right? The arms are not losing angular velocity that much. From peak to impact here, the arms should lose a lot of angular velocity. At the same time, this pink line is the wrist angular velocity. Wrist has to gain a lot of angular velocity during this period, from the peak, arm peak to impact here. But the arms are not losing that much velocity. Your wrist is not gaining that much angular velocity. It's because you are letting the club go away from your body early. You have to maintain good leg here and then let it go. So that way, arms slow down quite a bit, but the club accelerates quite a bit.
Okay.
But here, because you're letting the club go away from your body early, so this is when the arms reach peak angular velocity here. From here, you see, you're dragging this. From here, you're dragging into a downswing. So that means the arms are still dragging the club, so the arms are not losing that much velocity.
Okay.
So at this point, the arms should slow down quite a bit, and you have to really let the club head go.
Yeah.
The club accelerates here. So then your goal should be a good amount of wrist angular velocity. This is elite man's average, but your wrist angular velocity is here.
Okay.
And then because of that, your club angular velocity is lower than the average. Imagine if you can increase this maybe half or even more, then this will exceed elite man's average.
Okay.
So you're not generating enough speed using the rotational motion of the club. Rather, you're adding the linear motion by dragging.
Yeah.
So although the angular velocity is not really close to elite man's average, but your actual club speed is at the man's average. It's because you're more relying on dragging rather than letting the club turn.
Okay.
Toward the end, you have a little bit of club motion here, but still the arms are already fairly extended.
Yeah.
So by the time, let me go to the front view here. By the time on the way down, when the club is horizontal here, your right hand should be in front of right thigh here. The hand should be in front of right thigh. But this is, you lost the wrist cock quite a bit here. And then hands are way outside here. So your body is turning early. And that this is following behind here. And then keep dragging all the way here. Instead, here, and then the wrist is actively throwing the club head toward the target, and then continue here. And the part of the reason why your hands have to go really high is because you're not introducing this motion here. This is a supination of the forearm here. throw and then go up here, then you don't have to turn the body and then bring the hands high here.
Yeah.
Because if you keep going here, then your hands are lifted quite a bit. That's also how you promote the wrist motion here. But here, impact and throughout here, your arms and the club are fairly aligned. You're turning the whole thing together all the way to this position here. Even here, these are still fairly extended.
Yeah.
So this is happening pretty much from here. You keep turning that way instead of letting it go with the wrist motion. Let it go.
And it kind of folds back in.
So when you throw the club head, then you have a supination of the forearm here. Naturally, the elbow flexes here, and you're going to this easy, comfortable position. But you are swinging because you try to rely on your muscles here. Already here, you let the club go away from your body. From there, continue to swing as one unit all the way up, and then you end up really high finish here. Yep. You have to use the wrist motion, and particularly the wrist complex, forearm motion. So keep the leg more. From there, your goal is to throw the club head toward the target by using wrist motion, then boom here. Okay, instead of swinging all the way by dragging. So with your effort, your level of effort, the club speed should be a lot higher, but surprisingly, it's because you're not effectively using the wrist that much here. Okay. So back to kinematic sequence here. So your wrist contribution is really low here. And then the pink line, when the pink line is below the axis, then it is a cocking. Okay, you have cocking. So in the backswing, cocking, here you have a cocking here. This shows the maximum cocking angular velocity. And then cocking all the way. And then this is when the uncocking starts. Because it crosses the axis here. The pink line crosses the axis now. That means for the wrist motion, this is beginning of the uncocking. This is too early here.
It should be
delayed. It should be delayed.
Yeah.
So it's right after the top of backswing.
Okay.
But it should be delayed.
Okay. Is
So-
it too much cocking in the backswing?
No, it's not too much cocking.
Okay.
Because you are turning your shoulder quite a bit, so it looks like backswing is big.
Yeah.
But you don't have too much cocking there. So then uncocking starts from here, and then by time you reach the EDA 7 position here, the club is already moving quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so this is pretty much from here, a little bit uncocking here, but then even at this point, your wrist is not really throwing the club head that actively, but it's more turning together, but it still gives you casting-like effect.
Yeah, 100%. I see.
So with that, you have you let the club go away. That's why at the 9 here, when the club is aligned horizontally here, your hands are way out here rather than.
More lag and closer to the body. Yeah.
And with this position, you're throwing the club head toward the target and then snapping like this, rather than from here keep turning all the way as one unit. But that's probably the main aspect you need to change.
Okay.
You can easily practice how to release the wrist.
Cool.
Yeah, so the wrist reaches maximum cocking slight after the top of action here. This is too early. This is the beginning of wrist uncocking. This is too early. It's called the early release.
Okay.
Now let's go to this frontal view and see how you interact with the ground. Here we have 3 graphs. The middle one is the forces. So red line is the combined force, this one, this arrow. Blue is the force acting on the trail side, and the green is the force acting on the lead side here. So at the beginning of the backswing, you can see that you have a more force acting on the lead side here, which is good. Okay. So at the beginning, you have more force on the lead side. Using this, you can start actively in the backswing. And then as you start backswing, so here the two forces cross here. And then you put a lot more force on the now trail side here, almost a complete unloading of the lead side. So in terms of redistributing the force, so have more force acting on the trail side, this aspect is good. However, you do not have net push. So still the red line stays close to this line, which is one body weight. So your ground reaction force is close to body weight here. That means you don't have a active push, net active push.
Yeah,
Rather, you are just redistributing the force.
and that makes sense to the right hip. Just if I'm just here, I'm not exactly pushing. I'm
Yeah.
kind of just back. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when you actively push the ground, that actually promotes a good shoulder turn, more active shoulder turn,
Okay.
rather than sliding and just to try to turn the shoulder.
Stretching it. Yeah.
So you have a maximum difference between the trail side and the lead side here, almost 100% unloading here. And this is when this becomes the maximum. This shows the so-called moment arm here. Moment arm. What it is this arrow is the combined force, and then this is the whole body center of mass, and this distance, this separation in the frontal view, this is the moment arm. Image that you have a wrench running this way, and you're holding here and then pushing. So this distance is the moment arm or lever arm.
Okay.
When you multiply this red line and this red line here, then you have the torque in the frontal plane. That causes rotation in the frontal plane. So obviously we want to generate large torque in the backswing here to have active motion.
Yeah.
So at this point you are generating maximum here, and then soon the force will cross the center of mass here, then the momentum becomes zero because there's no separation between the arrow and the center of mass.
Yeah.
Then the torque becomes zero. After that, the torque goes to the opposite direction. So until this point, you're generating the torque that promotes backswing. But once you pass this point, although your motion is backswing, but the torque is acting in the downswing direction.
Interesting. Okay.
With that, you are slowing down the backswing motion. Okay? So this is end of pelvis rotation. Now the force is passing on the right side, so you have this separation. This is momentum. Momentum times this force is torque here.
Okay.
And then at the top of action, you are here. The force will incline a bit more. And then in your case here, at this point, the two forces are almost equal to each other. So although this is not, crossing at this point here, but this is close to the so-called stack and tilt swing. Because you are lowering this leader side here.
Yeah.
With that, you are gradually shifting the center pressure toward the leader foot, and then it's almost at the center here.
Okay.
If this goes a bit more, then you will have more force actually acting on the leader side.
Okay.
But at this stage, still you should have a good amount of force acting on the trail side. But you are already reducing the force difference between the two. So you're almost losing this difference here.
Okay.
So at this point, this point should be still close to the trail foot, but it should show a lot more leaning here. It should show a lot more inclination here.
Okay.
But for that, try to generate this inclination. So on one hand, you need to have more force acting on the trail side. Keep the center pressure here. But at the same time, you have to you have to reduce the vertical force. then the force will incline quite a bit here. When you have reduction of the vertical force, then this red line here goes way below the body weight here. So this is the one body weight line, and then, at this point, it's slightly above the body weight. So this is the active push phase, although the difference is not much. When the force goes below the body weight line, this is called the unweighting phase. Unweighting means your ground reaction force is less than the body weight. Okay? But this unweighting phase should be continuous, so unweighting has to increase all the way to the top of action here. But in your case, it's flat here, or even initially you have some unweighting, but it's going closer to the to the body weight, and then it is starting again. So you have a really weak unweighting here. In order to have a good interaction with the ground, you should push the ground, and after that you have good unweighting. We are repeating push, unweighting, push when you interact with the ground in the vertical direction. Okay? But because you're sliding the right hip backward, and then just dropping the lead side here, with this you lose the rhythm here. So when you have good push here, so the red line goes a bit higher, then you have more unweighting here. With that, you'll be able to generate good push here. But the unweighting phase is long, but it's a hesitation here. It's not continuous unweighting, right? And then the unweighting peak should occur right after the top of action here, but it's a bit delayed. Peak is delayed, but you have two-stage unweighting. This initial unweighting is during the center of mass upward motion. The second unweighting phase is during the downward motion, early part of downward motion. But you don't have much unweighting here.
Unweighting, you mean?
Unweighting.
Yeah.
Unweighting means, so when you have, imagine this, you just have active push up and down. So when you have good up and down motion, the force goes above the body weight, below the body weight, above the body weight.
Got it.
It repeats that.
Okay.
But so you don't have a good unweighting. That means it's mainly because of this lack of net push in the backswing.
Okay. And unweighting, you mean, is the transfer between this and that? If you're
No,
doing
no.
this
So
motion.
unweighting occurs at the end of the upward motion and at the beginning of downward motion.
Okay.
So when you have upward motion to downward motion transition, automatically you have a good continuous unweighting.
Okay.
But in the upward motion here, up to top of action here, up to end of pelvis rotation, up to this point, this is the upward motion phase. You have unweighting toward the end of the upward motion, but because you don't have much upward motion, when we looked at the center of mass motion, you didn't have much upward motion.
Okay.
So you don't have much unweighting.
Yeah.
And then on the way down, so when you have good unweighting up to this point, this is unweighting due to upward motion. But then at the beginning of downward motion, you also have unweighting. Okay? At the end of the upward motion and at the beginning of downward motion, you have a continuous unweighting here. Okay. And from here to here, if you add this area, that should be equal to this area here.
Okay.
Sum of this area should be equal to this one here.
Okay.
And then, so in the downswing, you're pushing the ground here, but basically you don't have good unweighting. This is the problem.
Okay.
When you don't have much unweighting here, that means you have weak push here.
Okay.
So all you do is just moving the center pressure to the right, almost 100% here. Okay, you see the center pressure is almost at the right foot here. This is just coming from redistribution of the force. But you don't have net push. So you're not pushing more than your body weight. So you need to have a more active push here. So the red line goes more above the body weight, then you have a continuous unweighting here. Yeah, but you have a early quick motion. So from here to here, you have early quick turn, and then you have this push coming from the right side here. But after that, you saw in the kinematic sequence that you have the early onset of a peak angular velocity. But after that, you have slow motion.
Yeah.
That's why you don't have that much action here.
Okay.
And then the force difference just decreases toward the top of action here. So you need to have good unweighting here. Okay. So the unweighting peak usually occurs about here, right after the top of action. At this point, you should have the center pressure close to the right foot and then good inclination of force here.
Okay.
Then you have a long momentum, but this is the longest momentum, which is below elite man's average.
Okay.
And then this times the force here, this is the torque. So your maximum, first the peak occurs about here. This is below man's average.
Yeah.
And then the second peak occurs here. This is quite late. This is quite late here. The whole purpose of generating good torque here in the frontal plane is to accelerate the body early. But initially, you don't have that much torque here.
Yeah.
And then later, you reach this second peak here. But again, this is slightly below the man's average maximum here. And this is delayed. So this is coming from the maximum force here. So second peak is coming from maximum force. The first peak is coming from the longest momentum here.
Okay.
But although you have two peaks, but the values are not that large here. This has to go way above this elite man's average. And then your peak force occurs here. The timing is okay. Your peak force occurs here. This is just slightly over elite man's average. And then usually at this point, the torque should be already decreased to this level here.
Okay.
Because you have a more torque and then it's decreased here. So it's important to generate a large torque at the beginning of the downswing, early part of downswing. But you failed, and then you try to put a lot of effort near the impact in the second half here.
Okay.
Even your lead force becomes maximum here. This is quite delayed. So maximum force from on the lead foot is happening a bit late.
Okay.
So this is already close to impact here. So you are going into impact. And then after the impact, you will see that the force goes below the body weight here. The ground reaction force goes below the body weight after impact rapidly. Again, you have unweighting here. When unweighting is here, then you will quickly lose the momentum and the torque here after that. But so the bottom line is in the downswing, when you look at the ground reaction force pattern and then the torque you generate, during the backswing, you have early action here, okay? But it's not net push, but rather it's just redistributing your center, your force, so that simply the center pressure goes close to your right foot here, but not much active push, and then you don't have active unweighting here. When you have good push, then and the push here between the pushes, you have automatically have good unweighting. So when in your image, when you have a good push in the backswing, and then in the downswing you have a good push, automatically you have a good unweighting between them. Because this unweighting, initial unweighting is due to this good push. And when you have good second part of second unweighting here, continuous unweighting, then you automatically push the ground hard here. And then also in terms of torque generation, in the downswing, okay, early on here, the torque is not that large, but you try to have the second peak later. This is a bit too late. At this point, your goal is to give good momentum to the club, rather when the body slows down. This is a bit too late here. So in general, what I see is that you have early quick action in the backswing, okay? And then it's coming from just redistributing the body weight. And then also with that quick action, what's happening is you're moving your right hip backward and then also dropping the lead hip down,
Yeah.
okay, rather than actively pushing the ground and then with that promoting shoulder turn here. So your large shoulder turn in the backswing, your large shoulder turn in the backswing is not really coming from the right leg push. If you have active pushes here, and using that, you have a more ballistic, more active turn here, versus you just slide the pelvis backward and then laterally.
Yeah.
From there, you don't turn your pelvis that much, but then you keep turning your upper body. So you have a good amount of X factor here, the separation between the shoulders and hips when this is observed on the swing plane. But again, the peak occurs early here. This is pelvis peak. This is the shoulder peak here.
Yeah.
They are occurring early in the backswing, before the midpoint of the backswing here. Then after that, you have gradual slow decrease in the angular velocity.
Cool.
And then the transition occurs almost at the same time.
Gotcha.
Okay? So while still keeping overall swing time short, so relatively a faster motion, but then in the backswing, your effort should be more toward the end of the backswing. For that, you should be able to push the ground to go with the right leg. So when you have good push, when you turn the shoulder by using the leg push here, kick and turn, kick and turn here,
Okay.
kick and turn. So I have the image of a kick and turn. Yes, yes, yes. So if your turn is like that, then the shoulder turn is more coming from the leg action.
Yeah.
But usually what happens is this goes here, and you're just turning the shoulders here.
Exactly.
So you have this action here. Push, turn, kick and turn, kick and turn, kick and turn.
Okay.
No need to raise your shoulder intentionally here.
Okay.
Just have a comfortable body posture here, relax here. But by kicking the ground, and you can turn the shoulders, kick and turn. Yes, yes. Yeah, that shoulder turn has to come from right leg push.
Got it.
And then kick, and then bring this arm up here. Kick and turn. Yes, yes. So then the turn is coming from the right leg action,
Got it.
rather
Instead of
than
me just
rather
manipulating
than intentionally try to turn the shoulder quite a bit here. And then when that happens, you can also kick the left leg on the way down. In the downswing, what I see here is that you're raising the hip here,
Yeah.
bring this up, and then this is following behind here.
Yeah.
Instead, you should be able to throw this in front of your body.
Okay.
When you throw and then
Oh, yes.
bend the left arm here, no need to have that exaggerated
Yep.
finished position. Yes, yes, yes. So then you can really let the club go, and your wrist can be more active here.